My name is Thomas Pape, and I live in Simi Valley, and this is my experience with the foreclosures that are going on, running rampant through California. A couple years ago, roommate and I, we found an ad on Craigslist for a 3-bedroom townhouse, and the rent was $1,500, and it was almost too good to be true, which it ended up being too good to be true. They took our money, and our rent and our deposit, and then we paid a couple months rent, and then we got a notice that the house was going into foreclosure and that we would be getting our deposit back from the mortgage, the rental company. We ended up not getting our deposit back, and we ended up squatting in the house for about 8 months, and there was a little bit of communication from the bank, mainly just telling us that we need to leave, but nothing official yet, no official eviction. And then about 6 or 7 months down the line, they had people watching us, and they had a subcontracted company come through and change the locks on us when we left, and they stole a couple of items from us, about, I'd say, $800 worth of things. And you know, it was an awful feeling like anybody could come in at any time and really just have free reign over all of your property, and we could be kicked out on the street at any time, and you'd come home and all of our stuff could be just on the sidewalk and with nowhere to go. And since we didn't get our deposit back, we invested all this money in this place to live, and we couldn't take that out to go find another place. So you know, we were just kind of broke and didn't know where to go. So eventually the bank decided to negotiate with us after we got back in the house and everything, and we got a hold of them, and they decided to negotiate. And until we actually settled with them, we didn't feel comfortable communicating with the bank. We negotiated with them, and we would call them and not get calls back, and they wouldn't negotiate at first, and then finally, when they knew that, you know, it was going to take a serious eviction, and after that we would appeal the eviction. I mean, if they had gone the legal route, we would probably still be in the house. But you know, it was just scary. It was a scary experience to go through something like that, and it wasn't like we wanted that. We were just looking for a place to live. We were willing to pay rent. I mean, we were paying rent, and it just kind of fell in our laps. And in the end, we got money, and you know, settled with the bank, and they helped us move out. But up until that time, when the money was in our hand, we didn't trust anybody. We couldn't trust anybody. There was a house that was across the street that was owned by the same people, or the same company, and we were in communications with this couple that had a child, and they ended up moving out shortly after, about 1 to 2 months, because they were scared, and the scare tactics worked on them, because they didn't want to have to deal with anything that we went through with a child. They just didn't want their child to have to go through that. You know, even though it paid off in the end, it wasn't pleasant, and it just, when you come home and you don't even want to be home because you feel like people are watching you, and people are going to come in and just lock the house up and try and lock you out and force you out, it's uncomfortable.